Hello, and welcome to another episode of Coach Ani the podcast, episode 12 now. Can we just discuss really quick how quickly time goes? I mean, I feel like it was yesterday I was starting episode 1 and re-recording it, I don't know, 45,000 times because I literally could not figure out the effing audio. And to be honest, sometimes I'm still messing it up. And that's a-okay. That's just where we're at right now, But if you've been listening from the beginning, first off, I just want to say thank you. It's been 3 months. That's kind of actually pretty wild. So, as you guys know, Thanksgiving is next week. Time off. I hope that you guys are taking time off and genuinely taking time off, not answering phone calls, not answering emails, not working on projects, just enjoying all the time that you have with your family and your friends and your loved ones, because I'll say that is extraordinarily important. Now, I will actually be out of town. We're visiting my boyfriend's family, and then I literally come back home for maybe 12 hours, 16 hours, and then I'm literally on my way back to LAX, and I'm going to North Carolina to work with a client of mine. And it's so funny that working with her is actually what inspired today's topic on the podcast. So as you guys know, I do a lot of marketing and business coaching calls that are one-on-one with all of my clients. But what you may not know is that I'm actually working on a few larger projects as well. Some of them are my own, which are great, awesome, and fantastic. We'll talk about those a different day. But it's more of a consultant role for some of my clients. And it's artists who already have education and they want to build upon it, make it bigger, build back-end things, and or they're ready to finally take all the knowledge that they have and implement it in a new structure and way that just makes it easier to consume. And so that's one of my clients, the former, not the latter, where she already has an education program. She's been doing it for a couple years. It's called Evolve. It's absolutely fucking phenomenal. And her and I were just jumping back and forth. We sent a lot of messages back and forth. And the owner, her name's Candace. We were talking about coaches and consultants and what that looks like and, people that we know and things that we've done. And I had kind of an interesting realization, I feel is a really good way to put it. And that's, I have not had a coach or mentor in years. And I mean, at minimum 3 years, 3.5 years now, maybe almost 4 years. I mean, it's kind of crazy when I think about it. And I'm sure you're wait, there's no fucking way. Because here's the deal. I do think every person, no matter how big you are, no matter how great you are, no matter how smart you are, no matter how talented you are, I believe every single person needs a coach. Because a coach, a mentor, someone that they can go to and say I'm confused. I don't actually understand what I'm doing. I'm a little bit lost. Am I on the right track? Am I on the right path? Yes, no, yay, nay, all those things. That's genuinely important, And I was sitting there and I was well, I know who my, obviously my clients, the salon, come to me. My clients who do coaching calls with, they come to me. Anyone that I'm consulting for, obviously they come to me. I have a very interesting skill set at this point in life. But who the fuck do I go to? No one. And that's kind of been an interesting realization. And here's the deal, when I moved to California, I did have a coach and a mentor, but probably about maybe 6-8 months to me living here, maybe 8, I'll say 8-9 months. We'll go on the longer end. My coach kind of came to an event one day and he was like, "Hey, just so you know, I'm never coming back." I'm like, what do you mean you're never coming back? I haven't even been here a year. What do you mean? And he was like, "Yeah, I'm never coming back. So every event from here on out is on you. And I hope you've learned everything that you need to, and how we're essentially going to be judging, not judging you, but evaluating my performance was based on how well I sold one event into the other." And so that was kind of a really crazy moment, because had I done it, yeah, by myself, literally never, I'd never done this alone in my fucking life. I felt wildly unprepared. And that was pretty much it. Like my entire future was now resting upon, could I replicate these results? And obviously the answer is yes. I succeeded very, very well. My numbers were actually higher than my original mentors. Like I did really great in my position. But from then on, something really interesting happened that all of a sudden, how it felt, and I'm not saying this is, I can't be like, this is 100% accurate, for how it felt for me is I was just expected to have all the answers. If a coach or a trainer couldn't show up, like it was on me to ensure that the event went on. If a student had a problem with the extension method that I was teaching, I better have a fucking answer on how to fix it. If a student was having a personal problem in their life, a professional problem, sometimes like legal problems, accounting problems, like my position at that point was to always have an answer. Not having an answer, I'm sure, could have been like hey, I don't know, I have to ask someone, but not that that was frowned upon, but it's not really, it didn't really seem like an option. And were there other team members that I could ask questions to? Yes. Did they do what I did? No. Some people might be more into like CFO role, some were more like back end, some were like kind of salon, whatever, but all of a sudden it was, if something goes wrong, I need to fix it. If anything happens, I have to have a fucking answer. And bear in mind, if it goes wrong, it's on me. So talking to my client, Candace, I said, it's so interesting for me to realize I haven't had anyone that I've viewed as a mentor or a coach in at minimum over 3 years. Easily 3 years. And her response back was, wait, what? And she told me, she's like, I've kind of been sitting with this. And she's like, honestly, how the fuck did you pull any of this off? She's like, the fact that she's like, and given, she's like, yes, I know you had help, all those things, but the fact that you were able to pull off what you did with no help and with no mentoring, she's like, I have had mentors for over a decade, like one specific mentor for over a decade. And then I had this person for 5 years and this person for 3 years and this person for 2, then this person for 1, now you, and all these things. And I'm like, she's like, I have had mentor after mentor after coach to lead me to build what I've built, but you didn't have that. And then she asked me a very interesting question. She goes, imagine what you could do if you did. And I was like, I've asked myself the same question, actually, especially recently being on my own. Of now I'm not once again kind of in that position, but I'm finding myself in the same place. I don't have a boss. Which, guys, it's the way to go. I'm just gonna say it. That's the way to go. But I don't have a boss. I don't have a coach. I don't have a mentor. I don't have someone that I consult that consults for me. I consult a lot of other people. And all of a sudden, I've been asking myself a very similar question. Well, if I was able to complete all of this, not 100% alone, I am never taking away from the work that the team did, but pretty close to fucking alone for a lot of the time, what the fuck could I do if I actually had help? And I have no doubt that many of you find yourself in the same place, whether you own a salon or you have your own suite or you're trying to build education and you kind of just like find yourself lost and confused. And then I feel like there's a few different reasons why we choose to like not get help or not ask for help. And I feel like one of the biggest ones is like ego. It's one of those things where, and I know like for me, during that time, there's a million times I wish I would have been able to ask someone for help or be like, hey, this is what I'm thinking, like as a trainer, because I was really like the only trainer and then everyone else came up under me. So I then had to be better to teach them everything I knew, but there wasn't anyone that was like with me or anyone above me that I could get help from. So now I'm sure you guys find yourself in very similar positions where maybe you have staff or whatever it is, and all of a sudden everyone's like, hey, I have a question, 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 and you're just like, oh, I have to have an answer. Like, I have to know what went wrong. I have to know how to fix this. I have to know why I do the thing that I do, having the answer of like, I don't know, it just because it looks good, because it's fun, because, it's artistic. Like that isn't actually a valid answer. That's like your parents saying, don't do that. And when you say why, they say, because I said so. I don't believe in because I said so, because I don't function that way. Like, I don't function that way at all. I've always said, like, I'm a questioner by nature. I want to know why. I want to know why something happens. I want to know why someone thinks this way. I want to know why they want to do this thing. I want to know the positive repercussions. I want to know the negative repercussions. I want to have all the information so, like, I can make an informed decision. And I know for a lot of people I've spoken with, and even myself, sometimes it can feel like asking for help almost means like you're admitting defeat, or almost like saying, like, I'm not smart enough to handle this situation, or I'm not good enough to handle this situation, when is that even true? Like honestly, like, is that even true? Because even if we think of like NBA players, for example, they have coaches. There's literally a coach for the team. They have coaches that work on their mentality, on their mindset, on their mental and like emotional strength, like all these things. So, but why is it we don't look down at that? We're like, oh, wow, good for them. They have all these coaches that help them. But then when it comes to us needing help, asking for help, getting help, it kind of doesn't exist. And I truly think part of that is ego. And I think it's two things. Number one, it's ego. The other part is we genuinely, like, you don't even know where to look. You're like, I would love to ask for help. Where do I find someone to help me do the thing that I want to do? And so here's the deal. I feel like never having a coach or mentor, or never asking for help and getting the help that you genuinely need, first off, you're going to end up just like going in a circle. It's a circle, and you're going to keep circling and trying the same shit that you've always done. Because here's the deal, like, everything you knew got you to the point where you are, but now, like, you don't know what you don't know to get you to the next stage. Like, you haven't learned it yet. You haven't practiced it yet. You might not even know that it exists. And I feel like I came to that point once I became self-employed and started a couple of businesses now. All of a sudden I was like, wait, I need this. Does this exist? Is this anywhere? And I know I kind of asked around, but I just ended up doing like a lot of research. But do you know how long fucking research takes? Hear me out. Do you understand how long research takes? And I'm not saying never do research and only ask for help. I'm saying there needs to be like a happy medium. And I had said something on my Instagram once, and a girl that I'm actually working with now, she was like, hey, you need to look into the system and software. And I was like, oh, this is what I wanted. This is amazing. Like, yes. Like, this is it. And that kept me from continuing to have to like spiral and look up something else and sign up, and then look up for something else and sign up, and like keep jumping back and forth. Because not only that, I really feel like if you're doing that and you're only relying on your own research and you don't have a coach, a mentor, a consultant, there is a chance you might quit one day. I truly feel like not having someone you can go ask questions to, obviously, I will say it depends on the personality. Like, I could have no one to ask fucking questions to. I'm not going to give up. Come hell or high water, I'm going to keep fucking plugging forward because that's just who I am. But I'm also aware, like, I'm a tenacious motherfucker. Like, I'm not going to give up. I don't give a shit how fucking hard it gets. Like, let's fucking go. You know what I mean? And so even with that, I feel like I've talked to a lot of artists that, you know, they get to the point where they're like, yes, but, the technology part threw me off. This became way too hard. Like, I don't know, you know? And they just kind of stopped. Well, is that like the best route? Do you know what I mean? Like, is that actually the best route? Because frankly, to me, that's just going to stall your growth. If you're never able to ask for help or find someone that you trust enough, that you trust their opinion, you trust their mindset, you trust that they have your best interest at heart, your best interest, not their own. Because let's say I'm your coach. It's not about me doing what's best for you. It's that my job is to help you do what's best for you. Be damned my own fucking opinion. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you trust this person? Because if not, first off, I don't recommend working with them, but also like that could genuinely stall your growth, because once again, you're now going in this circle to circle to circle. And not only that, you know, when you're so invested in your project, in your business, and something that you've poured like blood, sweat, tears, and like your heart and soul into, to be frank, you're going to miss part of the problem. And once again, you know, it's so crazy. One of my consulting clients, I was talking to her and she's like, you know, I just don't why is this happening? Why is it not selling? Why is it blah, blah? And I was like, oh, I can tell you it's because of this. It's because of the marketing. It's missing da, da, da. And she was just like, oh, oh my God, you're right. And I was like, yeah, like all of these things now need to change in order for this to become propped up because of all of these reasons. She didn't even see it because for her, she's so hyper focused on the product and ensuring that number one, it's a high dollar offer. So making sure that she's providing double the amount of value than what she's even charging, making it the best fucking experience that frankly I've ever seen in an event. And I've done some pretty dope ass events, but this is so fucking cool. And things like that all of a sudden she was like, I didn't even think about this. I didn't see that. I missed it. And that's really part of what happens when you're so invested in something. It's like you're zoomed in. Like you have binoculars on, you're all zoomed in, but someone is like, well, I don't have binoculars on. I can see the entire like field of vision. You're missing this. And that's incredibly important because not only that, guys, you waste a lot of fucking time. I can guarantee you, you're gonna end up wasting a lot of time. Shit, I've done that. I don't even want to tell you. Ever since I became like a, I guess, solopreneur, entrepreneur, whatever it is, a few months ago, the amount of shit I've bought that eventually I was like, I didn't need that. I've wasted so much money. But whatever, it was a lesson learned. Now I don't recommend things and blah, blah, blah. I learned through experience. But also, like, someone else could have saved me all that fucking problem, which is another thing I say. You want to make sure that whoever you're going to is completely, like, I want to say, like, up to date. And the best example that I give is really to all of my marketing students, because before, when I really started on Instagram, probably, oh my God, 6 years ago now, 2016 was really the year I like started. So I guess, yeah, 6 years ago. It was like whoever had the most beautiful feed, they were the person that won. They got all the clients, they got all the leads, they got all the followers. I'm sorry, it's not that way anymore. Anybody that tells you to focus on having the most beautiful, pretty, cohesive, aesthetic looking feed, my own personal opinion is that that's just a little bit outdated. Like honestly, it is, because the way that Reels have now taken over, having the most aesthetically beautiful feed, that doesn't really work. You want things that grab attention. So I ask all my students, I'm like, what do you want? Because they're like, oh, but this looks so pretty. I'm like, fine, what do you want? Do you want leads? Do you want followers? Do you want engagement? Or do you want a pretty feed? Because to be fucking honest, you're probably not going to have both. Because even with Reels, that cover photo needs to be something engaging. And that cute little photo that you put of you flipping your hair or whatever, I don't give a shit to click on that. I don't fucking care. So which do you want? Do you want engagement or do you want a pretty feed? No one's ever chosen pretty feed. Like, I'm just going to let you know now. Or even like, I know when I started doing hair, funnels were a really big thing. And for the time, I do think it worked for the time. I think it was really great for the time. I'm going to be real with you. Do I think they're as relevant as they are now? Oh, I just don't think so. I truly feel like so much has changed in the world of social media. I do think landing pages are important. I do think, yes, having a website and collecting emails, I will like die by that. You have to do that. Do I think a funnel in and of itself is extraordinarily necessary in order for your business to succeed? Ask me even a year ago, I would have said yes. My opinion has changed. I say no. Because too much has happened. I've done too much research. Like, I know so many more things now that I say, I don't really think funnels are necessary. I think your time is best spent elsewhere, which would take me 1,000 years to go into right now, so I won't. But always make sure that, like, also when you're looking for help and guidance, you're asking someone who's staying up to date. Do you know what I mean? And here's the deal. You know, if you want to go at it alone, that's fine. Like, honestly, like, do it. More power to you. I support you in all your endeavors. But frankly, I think you're just going to end up creating really bad habits. I think always having to go at it alone. And I've been on that side where I've had to, like, do things completely alone, where the rule was, like, my job, my responsibility was to take over for, you know, the owner of a company and make sure that, you know, someone else could just step in and out and do whatever. But I had to, like, create the frame, hold the frame, build the structure, do all these things. And when you get so used to never having help and never asking for help, or potentially not having someone you can go to, first off, it's a really fucking lonely road. Like, I'm just going to say, like, that's incredibly lonely. And I think that's a very actual bad habit to create, because everybody needs help. Every single person. Like, I'm sorry, even singers, professional singers, the ones that we all know and love, they have voice coaches, they have vocal coaches. Like, they didn't just wake up, have the most perfect voice ever, and then never think about it again. No freaking way. Absolutely no way. Everybody gets help from someone. Because here's the thing I want you to consider that I said at the beginning. The question that was posed to me was, well, if you've come this far essentially alone, what could you do if you actually had help and support? What if there was a designated person? If I had my own coach, someone that I went to, if I had my own mentor that I went to, if I had a consultant that I went to, maybe they already created and they're already doing the shit that I know I want to do. How much easier would that now make my life? I mean, truly, how much faster would I be able to move? How much money would not be fucking wasted? And I'm sure someone's going to be like, but you're still having to pay a consultant and a coach. Yeah, you're goddamn right, because they're making my life easier. It's essentially like, imagine you're about to walk. Hear me out. Close your eyes. Listen to me. There's these woods, huge, massive, tall trees, and you can tell that there's a path, but on the path, it's leaf covered. There's leaves strewn everywhere, maybe a little bit of mud. You see some footsteps. You can tell people have been here before, but it's like really hard to see where the actual path is. You can find it with time and effort. You can clean it off. You can kick shit around with your foot, but chances are at some point, you're going to go down the wrong way. Then you're going to have to make your way back. Then you're going to have to clean up where the path you think it is and then start going down. Chances are it's going to happen again. Or you can just pay a consultant, a coach, a trainer, whoever to be like, hey, I know you know where the path is. Here's a rake and a shovel. Oh, you already have your own. Cool. Great. I'm just going to follow you. And then they essentially just start sweeping all this fucking shit and garbage and things that just distract you out of your way to give you the chance to do what you want to do, to hit your goals, to create the business, build the brand, whatever it is, faster, with less struggle, less stress. And I'm sure someone's going to be thinking this, and I'm a big fan of addressing this. I'm sure someone's like, is she just using this as a pitch for us to hire her? No. I'm really not. You want to hire me? Great. You don't? I'm okay with that too. It's fine. This is me coming to the realization that I'm really proud of everything I've done, but I'm now at a point in my life where I want help. I want guidance, and I feel like, how do I say this? I'm just going to say, I feel like I'm looking for my coach Ani. Like, I'm looking for the person that I can be like, okay, here's all my thoughts, all my ideas. Here's what I've done. What am I missing? What am I not seeing? Where am I so blinded by emotion and the love of everything that I've created? It's my baby. You know, when like parents have a fucking garbage ass kid. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it. And if you're a parent and you're like, oh my God, how dare you say that? I bet it's your kids. I'm not even going to apologize. I'm not. Because anytime I've met a parent that they're like, oh my gosh, my kids are perfect. And I'm like, ugh, you have the worst children. Like, you actually have the worst kids. How can you not admit it? Look, my dogs, I'm obsessed with them. They're fucking dicks some days, man. It's okay to say it. But I'm just saying, like, where am I that mom? Where am I being the mom that is so blinded by the love for my child that I don't see that it's something they're doing is wrong? Except my child is my business, my two businesses now. And it's important. It's so important to get that help. So if you're listening to this and you're the person that this is resonating with you a little, you're like, you know what? I do feel a little bit alone. I do feel a little bit stressed out. I feel overwhelmed and I don't know where to go. I don't even know where to start. Start asking around. Really, start asking around, start doing some research, talk to people, and any consultant, any kind of coaching. So for example, because there's different things you can do. Sometimes, guys, you just need a one-off, like, hey, I'm a little stuck on my marketing. Can you lead me down the right way? And those can be, just like a one-off call. That's great. I have a client that we're, contracted together for until the end of 2023. I have another that's the next 4 months. I have another that's the next 5 months. Like, I have one that starts in like February. It's like another 3-4 months. So like things, you can also hire them for longer stints of time. You can hire them project-based. Like, don't limit yourself. And remember, the money spent on a coach or trainer or consultant is not a waste. It's never a waste, assuming you did your research and they know what they're fucking talking about. If you're hiring Joe off the street who walks his poodle at like 4 a.m., I don't know. I don't know what Joe does, but maybe just make sure they know you guys are at least in the same industry. Like you're asking them questions they know how to answer, but they're there to clear the path for you and make things easier. And well, what if things were easier? Like, have you ever like legitimately thought like, what if I could build my business easier and faster? Think of all the money that you would also make because the path would now be cleared. Musings of a person who spends most of her days alone. No, but really, once again, if you're listening to this and this is like resonating with you, do some research, find someone, ask around. If you don't even know where to start, shoot me a DM. And even if I'm not the person you want to work with, that's okay. I know so many smart fucking people. I know so many amazing, talented, wonderful, phenomenal people. Shoot me a message. I will help you find someone. Like, I don't even give a shit. It doesn't have to be me. I don't care. I will help you find someone because I truly believe that having a coach and a mentor and someone you can just go to for help will probably be one of the most vital things that you do. So I know for me, my goal, before the end of this year, I have, oh my gosh, well, we're a week away from Thanksgiving, so like 5 weeks barely, is to like find that person. I need that person for me now because I have 3 businesses I'm taking care of just myself. So this is fucking wild. So how many times can I say so? Let's count. I'm going to put a so count on this. 45,000 apparently. Anyway, thank you once again for listening to another episode of Coach Ani, the podcast. As I say every episode, shoot me a DM on Instagram. It's ani.aim marketing, or my personal one, which is my full name _R. If you send me a message, I will always take the time to respond. I feel like that's the least I could absolutely do. And I'm also saying, if you want help finding someone, I will help you, because this is also important to me. And I know like I'm kind of on the search. So also, I don't know, if you feel like you know someone that I would super vibe with, because I'll also say you better vibe with this person. If you're about to pay them a lot of money to do all these things, you also better fucking vibe. But I don't know, if you know of a coach, a trainer, a consultant that you're like, wait, Ani, y'all be a vibe, let me know. So thank you guys again for being here. Gosh, I guess happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, I guess, next time I talk to you guys, it will be Thanksgiving, and that is kind of wild. So thank you again for listening. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next week.